All right, you sinners. Are you ready to get spooky as fuck? Grab a drink, because tonight we're diving deep into the Conjuring universe. We got articles, movie summaries, the whole nine yards. But here's the kicker. We've got a real live priest with us tonight to separate the holy water from the bullshit.
Oh,
Let's cut the crap. Are the Warrens legit demon hunters? Or just some asshats with a good story? You ready to find out? Let's fucking go.
One of the things that gets me is how different the Annabelle doll is in the movies. She's this creepy porcelain thing, but the real doll is just a Raggedy Ann.
No shit. So no soul-stealing demon doll, just a regular doll?
Yeah, basically. Probably some kid's old toy. It makes you think, how much did they make up for the movies?
Okay, so the real Annabelle is less I'm gonna kill you
Yeah,
and more like something you'd find in your grandma's attic.
exactly. And that brings us to the Warrens themselves. They built their careers on these spooky stories, but how much was true?
Right, like were they really fighting demons or just really good at telling stories and getting people riled up? Maybe both.
That's the million-dollar question. They were definitely charismatic, they were captivating, they drew you in and made you believe even if you were skeptical.
Yeah, they were like the rock stars of the paranormal world. But that doesn't mean they were always telling the truth.
Right. And that's where it gets tricky. We have to look at the evidence, the facts. Try to separate the truth from the bullshit.
Okay, so let's talk about some of their big cases. Amityville, the Perron family, the stuff that gave us nightmares as kids. Were they legit? Or were the Warrens just trying to get famous?
Well, Amityville, for example, people have been arguing about it for years. Some say it was real, others say it was a hoax.
So we're left scratching our heads, wondering what to believe. That's some bullshit.
It can be frustrating, but it's part of what makes it so compelling. We have to question what we believe, look at the evidence, and come to our own conclusions.
All right, so maybe we can't say for sure if the Warrens were the real deal or full of shit. But they did create a whole universe from their investigations.
Absolutely. It's a whole tapestry of stories, all connected to their cases.
It's like the MCU, but with demons and possessed nuns. And it keeps fans coming back for more.
Exactly. The Conjuring movies, the Annabelle spin-offs, even The Nun. All these separate stories connected by the haunted objects.
Speaking of haunted objects, why are we so fascinated by the idea of everyday things being possessed? A creepy doll I get, but a music box. Or a mirror.
I think it's a primal fear that evil can be anywhere, even in ordinary things. It makes you question if your own home is safe.
Right, like what if your toaster is a portal to hell? Fucked up, right?
It plays on our anxieties about the unknown, the things we can't control. We think we're in charge, but what if something else is out there?
And that's what makes these movies so scary, right? They take those fears and turn them into these terrifying stories.
Exactly. And it's not just jump scares or creepy visuals. There are deeper themes. Good versus evil, the power of faith, families being attacked.
Yeah, like in The Conjuring, the Perron family being terrorized by that pissed-off spirit. It's not just the scares, it's the family trying to stay together, protect each other.
Right, and the Warrens using their faith to fight back. It's classic good versus evil.
Okay, but let's be real. How much of this shit do you actually believe? As a priest, do you think demons are real?
Well, that's a question that's been debated for centuries.
Let's cut the crap. Do you think a demon could possess a fucking Raggedy Ann doll?
I mean, I can't say a demon can't fuck with a doll, but it's more than that. Evil exists. We see it all the time, right? Whether it's a demon or something else, that's the real question.
So you're saying some evil thing could be hanging out in a Raggedy Ann doll, just waiting to cause trouble?
I've seen enough crazy shit to know anything's possible. The important thing is not to freak out and think critically.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
But back to the Warrens. Do you think they were trying to help or just using this stuff for their own benefit?
I think it's a bit of both. They were really into the paranormal and believed they were helping.
But they also knew how to work a crowd, right?
No doubt. They were great storytellers, knew how to capture an audience, and they knew how to use the media.
Yeah, they were always on TV, writing books, giving talks. The Kardashians of exorcism.
Yeah, something like that. They were celebrities and used it to spread their message.
But did all that fame hurt their credibility? I mean, the more famous they got, the more people called them out, right?
That comes with the territory, right? The more you're out there, the more people scrutinize you.
It's like you can't be the face of demon hunting and expect everyone to buy it.
Exactly. And they got a lot of criticism from scientists, academics, people calling their work fake.
So where do you stand on this? Were they the real deal or full of shit?
I think they meant well, but their methods, well, they were questionable sometimes. It's hard to tell where the truth ends and the showmanship begins.
That's what's so crazy about the Conjuring universe. Truth and fiction all mixed together.
And that's what makes it so interesting. It forces you to think about what you believe, about good and evil, about reality itself.
Okay, let's talk about the movies. What makes them so scary? The jump scares, the atmosphere. What is it?
I think it's a lot of things. James Wan, the director, he's amazing at building suspense, making you feel like something awful is about to happen.
Yeah, he's like the Hitchcock of horror. He doesn't need gore, just sound, shadows, real psychological terror.
Right. And the films play on those deep fears we all have. Darkness, the unknown, losing control.
Like in The Conjuring 2, the crooked man creeping around.
Yeah,
You just know something bad is coming.
exactly. It's how they use the atmosphere and make you uneasy.
And we can't forget the religious stuff. The Warrens being Catholic, using their faith to fight evil. Does that make it scarier, you think?
For sure, the idea that even with faith you could be vulnerable to demons, that's scary.
Right. If holy water and crucifixes aren't enough, what the fuck are we supposed to do?
That's where faith comes in, not just in the symbols, but in something bigger than us.
Right.
Something that can help us overcome evil.
Okay. I like it. So it's not just about being terrified. There's hope there, too, even when faced with some really fucked up stuff.
Right. And that's what people connect with. Maybe they don't believe in demons, but they get the idea of facing your fears and fighting for what you believe in.
Speaking of fighting, let's talk about the Warrens' tools, holy water, crucifixes, all that. Does that stuff really work, or is it just for show?
I've seen what faith can do, people finding strength, overcoming challenges. So I wouldn't say it's all bullshit.
But you're not saying they're magic, right?
Yeah.
Just wave a crucifix and the demon goes poof.
It's more about the intent, the belief. It's using faith to fight the darkness.
Okay, so it's not just the tool, it's the faith behind it.
And remember, these are movies made to entertain us, scare us, make us think.
Right, we can't believe everything we see, but it makes you think about what's possible.
Exactly. It makes us wonder if there's more to the world than we can see.
Okay, let's talk about the family stuff. In the movies, every movie has a family being attacked, and the Warrens coming in to save them.
You're right. It's about that need we have for safety, especially within the family. And when that's threatened, it's terrifying.
You think you're safe at home with your family, then something comes and fucks it all up.
And that's where the Warrens come in. They restore order, get rid of the evil, protect people.
Like paranormal parents fighting the monsters under the bed.
And it's interesting how they're different from typical exorcisms. They don't just do the rituals. They investigate, do research, try to understand the evil.
So they don't just throw holy water around, they try to figure out what's happening and how to stop it.
Exactly. And it makes them seem more believable, even if their methods are a little different.
Okay, last question. Do you think the Warrens would be cool with the Conjuring Universe? I mean, their case is being used for these scary movies, freaking people out.
That's a tough one. I think they'd have mixed feelings. They were devout Catholics who wanted to fight evil, but also private people who cared about their reputation.
So maybe a little pissed their lives were turned into a Hollywood franchise.
Maybe, but I think they'd also like that it's bringing attention to the paranormal, showing that there are things we don't understand.
Yeah, maybe they'd see it as a warning about the dangers out there. Or maybe they'd sue for the money.
Who knows? But one thing's for sure, the Conjuring Universe has had a huge impact, and it's got people talking about faith, evil, what's real, and what's not.
All right, you heard it here, folks. The Warrens might have been a little out there, but they weren't afraid to face the devil. Maybe there's a lesson in that for all of us. Okay, so we've talked about the Warrens, all the crazy investigations, the whole fucked up Conjuring universe. But let's cut the crap. What's the takeaway here? For the average person who just watched these movies and is now scared of every little noise.
Well, I think the biggest thing is fear. It's powerful, right? It can control us, make us do stupid shit.
Like sleeping with the lights on, maybe a crucifix under the pillow. Not that I do that.
But fear can also push us, It can make us look for answers, face our fears, be stronger.
So instead of letting fear turn us into wusses, we should use it to become like demon slayers. I can get behind that.
It's about balance, We got to recognize our fears, but not let them run us. And remember, even when things are dark, there's always hope.
Deep, man. Deep. But back to the movies, what really gets you, the jump scares, the atmosphere.
For me, it's the slow burn, that feeling of dread that builds up. It's not just the sudden shocks, it's that feeling that something bad is coming.
Yeah, like when you're home alone and you hear a noise.
Yeah.
You know it's probably nothing, but you still feel like someone's watching you.
It's playing on our deepest fears, things that have scared us forever. Darkness, the unknown, losing control.
Speaking of losing control, what about possessions? What does the church say about that? Is it real or BS?
Whoa, hold up. You're saying people can get possessed by demons? Like, for real?
Whoa, hold it. You're saying people can get possessed by demons? Like, for real.
It's very rare, but it happens, and it's serious shit.
Okay, now I'm freaked out. But what about the holy water, crucifixes? Does that stuff really work?
Those are sacramentals. They're reminders of God's power, They can bring comfort and protection, but they're not magic.
So not like you wave a crucifix and the demon just disappears.
It's the faith behind it that matters, the belief that God is with us.
Makes sense. But what about people who aren't religious? Are they screwed if a demon shows up?
We all have faith, even if we don't know it. It's about finding that strength, that belief in something bigger.
So even if you're not a churchgoer, you can still find that power.
Absolutely. It's about seeing the good inside us and in the world.
I like that. So the Conjuring Universe isn't just about scaring us shitless. It's about remembering that even when things are fucked up, there's still hope.
Exactly. It's about faith, family, and that human spirit, never giving up.
All right, folks, I think we've had enough demon talk for one night. But before we go, gotta ask you one last thing. What would you add to the Warrens collection?
That's a good one. I'd say something that shows hope. Maybe a kid's drawing of their family. Something about love and light that can drive away the darkness.
Damn, that's a good one. A reminder that even with all the fucked up shit, there's still good things to fight for. All right, you sinners, that's it for our deep dive into the Conjuring Universe. We talked about the Warrens, the movies, all the creepy stuff. Keep the lights on, say a prayer, and don't let the fear get to you. Until next time, stay spooky.